Hi everyone. Now let's discuss topic 6 of Unit 3, penetration testing techniques. Penetration testing, also called pen testing, is a security practice where ethical hackers simulate cyber attacks on systems, applications, or networks to find weaknesses before malicious hackers exploit them. Its main goal is to improve security by discovering vulnerabilities and testing how well defenses work. In simple words, it's like a mock attack on a system, done legally, to check how secure it really is. Penetration testing can be done in different ways. Black box testing. Testers have no prior knowledge of the system. White box testing. Testers have full knowledge of the system, like source code, architecture. Gray box testing. Testers have partial knowledge, somewhere in between. There are also structured methodologies like OSSTMM, OWASP, NIST, and PTES that provide guidelines for conducting penetration tests effectively. To make this clear, let's look at some exam-focused questions. 2-mark questions. Define penetration testing. List any 2 goals of penetration testing. Name any 2 penetration testing methodologies. What is the difference between black box and white box penetration testing? Define gray box testing. 10-mark questions. Explain the phases of penetration testing in detail. Compare and contrast black box, white box, and gray box penetration testing with examples. Write a detailed note on automated versus manual penetration testing tools. Discuss the importance of reporting in penetration testing with an example format. Explain any 4 penetration testing methodologies. For example, OSSTMM, OWASP, NIST, PTES. Introduction. Penetration testing, commonly known as pen testing, is a security practice where ethical hackers simulate real cyber attacks on an organization's system, network, or applications. The main purpose is to find security weaknesses before real hackers can exploit them. In simple terms, it's like hiring a friendly hacker to test how strong your digital locks are. For example, imagine a company's website that allows online payments. A penetration tester may try to perform an attack like SQL injection, entering malicious code into a login form to see if the website is vulnerable. If successful, they report the issue so it can be fixed before criminals exploit it. Pen testing is an important part of a company's security assessment strategy, ensuring that defenses are strong and updated against new threats. Goals of penetration testing. Identify vulnerabilities and weaknesses. Pen testing helps discover flaws in software, networks, or security policies. Example: a weak admin password like admin123 can be easily guessed by attackers. A pen test would detect and report this weakness. Evaluate existing security controls. Companies spend money on firewalls, antivirus, and intrusion detection systems. But are they really effective? Pen testing checks if these controls can stop, or at least detect an attack. Example: if a firewall is set incorrectly, it might allow unauthorized access to sensitive files. Demonstrate the impact of a potential breach. Pen testing doesn't just say, there's a weakness. It shows what could happen if hackers exploit it. Example: a tester may gain access to customer data during a test. This proves how dangerous a real attack could be. Comply with security regulations. For example, PCI DSS, ISO 27001. Many industries like banking, healthcare, and e-commerce are required by law to perform regular pen tests. Example: PCI DSS, for payment card data, requires penetration testing to ensure cardholder information is protected. Improve the overall security posture. The ultimate goal of pen testing is to make the organization stronger against cyber attacks. Example: after a pen test, the company may patch vulnerabilities, enforce stronger passwords, and improve employee training. Penetration testing is not just a random hacking attempt. It is a structured process that follows specific phases to ensure that organizations can understand their security gaps in a safe and controlled way. The first phase is planning and reconnaissance, where the scope of testing is clearly defined. For example, the testers and the organization decide what systems can be tested, what methods are allowed, and what is off-limits. Along with this, testers collect information about the target using OSINT, open source intelligence, such as searching company websites, employee details on LinkedIn, or even metadata in public files. To build a profile of the target system, The second phase is scanning and enumeration, where the tester uses automated tools to find weaknesses in the system. For example, tools like Nmap can identify open ports, such as port 80 for HTTP or port 22 for SSH, while Nessus can detect known vulnerabilities in applications and services. This phase helps testers map the attack surface of the system once weaknesses are identified. The third phase, exploitation, begins. Here, testers actively try to exploit those vulnerabilities to see how much damage could be done if a real attacker attempted it. For instance, they might use a SQL injection attack on a website's login page to extract sensitive information from the database, or attempt privilege escalation to move from a low-level user account to an administrator account. The fourth phase is post-exploitation, where the tester evaluates the impact of the compromise. For example, after gaining access to a server, the tester might check if confidential files like financial data or customer records can be stolen. They might also test whether they can maintain long-term access, similar to how hackers install backdoors to re-enter the system later. This phase helps organizations understand the true business risk of the vulnerabilities. Finally, the most important phase is reporting. In this step, the penetration tester documents all findings in a clear and structured report. This includes what vulnerabilities were found, how they were exploited, the potential impact if a hacker were to use them, and most importantly, how to fix them. For example, if SQL injection was found, the report would recommend input validation and the use of parameterized queries. In short, penetration testing follows a life cycle that moves from careful planning to identifying weaknesses, exploiting them, analyzing the impact, and then sharing solutions with the organization. This structured approach ensures that organizations can proactively fix vulnerabilities before attackers take advantage of them. Types of penetration testing. Penetration testing can be performed in different ways, depending on how much information is shared with a tester. The three common approaches are black box testing, white box testing, and gray box testing. 1. Black box testing. In black box testing, the tester has no prior knowledge of the system, application, or network. They approach the test just like a real external hacker who is trying to break into the system without any inside help. The tester relies on publicly available information, scanning tools, and trial-and-error techniques to find vulnerabilities. For example, a tester may perform port scanning using Nmap to find open ports, and then attempt an attack, such as SQL injection on a login form. This type of testing simulates an actual real-world external attack, but it can take more time and might not cover all internal risks. 2. White box testing. White box testing is the opposite of black box testing. Here, the tester is given full knowledge of the system, such as source code, network diagrams, configuration files, and credentials. This allows them to perform a deep and thorough examination of the system. Since the tester knows how the system works internally, they can focus on specific areas that are more likely to have weaknesses. For example, if a tester is given access to the application's source code, they may detect vulnerabilities such as hard-coded passwords or insecure API calls that might not be visible from the outside. White box testing is useful for simulating an insider attack and helps organizations find vulnerabilities before real attackers can exploit them. 3. Gray box testing. Gray box testing is a combination of black box and white box approaches. The tester has partial knowledge of the system, such as limited user credentials or some information about the infrastructure. This method provides a balance between realism and efficiency. The tester can simulate an attack by someone who has gained limited access to the system, like a malicious insider with normal user privileges. For example, if a tester is given a standard employee login to an internal portal, they may attempt privilege escalation attacks to see if they can gain admin-level access. Gray box testing is often considered practical because attackers in real life often manage to steal some level of credentials before attempting deeper attacks. Penetration testing methodologies. Penetration testing follows structured methodologies to ensure that tests are systematic, repeatable, and cover all potential attack areas. One widely used methodology is OSSTMM, open-source security testing methodology manual, which provides guidelines for measuring and testing operational security in networks, systems, and processes. Another popular framework is OWASP, Open Web Application Security Project, which focuses specifically on web applications and offers detailed guidance through its Web Application Security Testing Guide for identifying vulnerabilities like SQL injection and cross-site scripting, XSS. The NIST SB 800-115 is a technical guide issued by the National Institute of Standards and Technology, providing procedures for information security testing and assessment, including vulnerability scanning, penetration testing, and social engineering. Lastly, PTES, Penetration Testing Execution Standard, offers a structured process covering pre-engagement interactions, intelligence gathering, threat modeling, vulnerability analysis, exploitation, post-exploitation, and reporting. Following these methodologies ensures that penetration testing is thorough, legal, and aligned with organizational security objectives. Tools used in penetration testing. Penetration testers use a variety of tools depending on the phase of the test. For scanning and discovery, tools like Nmap, Nessus, and OpenVAS are used to detect open ports, services, and vulnerabilities in networks and systems. During the exploitation phase, frameworks like Metasploit and tools like SQLmap help testers exploit known vulnerabilities safely. For web application testing, Burp Suite and OWASP ZAP are widely used to intercept traffic, test for vulnerabilities, and analyze web requests. In password cracking or authentication testing, tools like Hydra and John the Ripper simulate attacks to identify weak passwords. By combining these methodologies with appropriate tools, penetration testers can simulate real-world attacks and help organizations strengthen their security posture before malicious hackers can exploit vulnerabilities. Automated versus manual penetration testing. Penetration testing can be performed using automated tools, manual techniques, or a combination of both. Automated testing involves using software tools to quickly scan systems, networks, or applications for known vulnerabilities. Tools like Nessus, OpenVAS Burp Suite, or OWASP ZAP can scan large environments efficiently, making automated testing fast and scalable. However, automated tools may miss complex vulnerabilities related to business logic, workflow flaws, or subtle misconfigurations that require human judgment. On the other hand, manual testing is performed by skilled penetration testers who carefully analyze applications, networks, and systems to uncover weaknesses that tools might not detect. This includes testing authentication flows, authorization bypasses, and complex multi-step attacks. Manual testing is more accurate for detecting these nuanced issues, but is time-consuming and requires expertise. Therefore, organizations often use a combination of automated and manual testing to achieve comprehensive coverage. Importance of reporting and penetration testing. Reporting is a critical part of penetration testing because it translates technical findings into actionable insights for both IT teams and management. A well-prepared report provides detailed technical information about discovered vulnerabilities, including how they were exploited, while also offering an executive summary for management that highlights risks and potential impacts in non-technical language. Reports also prioritize vulnerabilities based on severity, often using scoring systems like CVSS, Common Vulnerability Scoring System, which helps IT teams focus on the most critical issues first. Typical sections of a penetration testing report include the executive summary, scope and methodology, findings with CVSS scores, and recommendations for mitigation and remediation. Effective reporting ensures that vulnerabilities are addressed promptly, improving the overall security posture of the organization. Thank you. Please like, share, and subscribe.